You've seen him on Late Night with David Letterman, Montel Williams, Howard Stern, and so much more. You've read his best-selling books, watched him motivate the masses. Now it's time you got up close and personal with the man the media calls the Millionaire Maker. Get ready to be entertained, educated, and empowered. The only radio show that pays you to listen. It's Get Rich Radio with your host, Marshall Silver.
It's a fascinating day. I had a particular intention of what we were going to chat about today, and a couple things have kind of thrown a curve. I don't know how people have multiple children. I don't know how people have multiple births, have twins or triplets or sextuplets. I don't know how they do it. I love my son, so let me preface this by saying that I love my son very much. And yet a couple days this week, he has been extremely restless at night. And last night was probably the most challenging one so far. And I don't know if you have kids, if you know this thing about swaddling. Swaddling is you wrap the baby in a swaddling blanket, could be any kind of a blanket, and it's a baby straitjacket. In fact, I thought what a great product that would be if somebody just didn't pretend and printed these, because they make them with cloth and Velcro now, so you don't actually have to fold and tuck and tie. You can actually just put them in the swaddling clothes, fold them over. And the reason the swaddle works is it holds them tightly, just like a straitjacket would. And the reason that it works for infants is that it models the womb. So it makes them feel like they're back in the womb. I guess because they can see it's a womb with a voo. At any rate, no rim shot, Jimmy? You must be as sleepy as I am. Thank you. So at any rate, we had unswaddled him because, I admit it, I felt horrible. I used to escape from straitjackets in my professional magical career, and so I know what it feels like to be confined like that, and I felt horrible. So we were attempting to unswaddle him. Well, the poor boy's only 3 weeks old, and so needless to say, we were eager. And so we had unswaddled him on a few nights, and that didn't work out so well. So the last couple nights, we're swaddling him again. And last night, though, he was up all night. And so I was up all night. And it's been catching up. Sleep hasn't been great. It's been kind of restless. Obviously, I work all day long, and I'm not able to take naps during the day. And just getting sleepier and sleepier and sleepier. So I wanted to just chat about a couple things. I got up to do some work and sent out some late-night emails. And I don't know if you know this. Gmail has a fascinating tool. And the tool is such that it requires you, after a certain parameter, so say you set the parameter from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m., it requires that you do a math equation to unlock Gmail before it lets you send an email if you've set those parameters as that tool goes. And what it's supposed to stop, it's supposed to stop people from sending out drunken emails, drunken text messages, or embarrassing themselves later on and going, oh, crap, what did I do? So last night, I'm just tired. I get up and I'm just exhausted, and I thought, you know what, I'll catch up on some correspondence. And I looked at the screen, and I was so exhausted at 3 in the morning that I literally could not send an email. I wrote a bunch, and they were clear. There was nothing wrong with them, except I couldn't do I couldn't send them. Ultimately, I couldn't send them. I had drafts I couldn't send. So it made me think a little bit about what people do online and don't really think about what the consequences are. There is a woman in Ohio who went on Facebook, and her father contracted an ex-military guy to go kill her ex-husband. And obviously, they said it was real. And they were certainly going along with it, and they were willing to pay $50,000 in cash out of the life insurance policy. Well, needless to say, they got caught, they got arrested, and then obviously they later on have a different kind of defense. Oh, I knew all along it wasn't real, and I knew it was fake. Well, I don't know if you saw this. It happened again. This woman decides to use a fake teenage Facebook profile to trick her ex to uncover a murder plot. So she starts friending this guy. They're separating. They're going through a divorce. And she starts, sending messages back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And ultimately, the guy says, yeah, I should really just, I should put a cap in her. Maybe, and she pretends she's a teenage girl. So the guy says to the teenage girl, maybe you've got a friend at high school, some gangbanger, that for $10,000 could do the job. And so they go back and forth, Says all sorts of things. Yeah, once the ex-wife is gone, I don't have to hide with my kids and all the more. So it goes on. Finally, the woman uncovers this sinister plot, takes it to the police. The police come and arrest the guy. The ultimate is that the guy said, I knew it was fake all along. Well, of course, that's going to be the defense. Except this guy had the wherewithal, because he knew his ex-wife screwed with him, to send a certified letter to himself and to someone else, dated way before he started saying anything about killing his ex-wife, and stating that he knew this fake teen was his ex-wife messing with him. And because the date of the certified mail predated the conversations he had about killing her, he was completely off the hook. You never really know who you're talking to online. Have you ever had an experience where you thought you were talking to one person and it ended up they weren't who they said they were online? Now, I admit it. I don't think I've really talked about this publicly. So I'm going to talk about it publicly. I'm going to reveal a little bit of myself to you before we go to break. And we've got a great guest on the show today. Wendy Lipton Dibner is on the show today. She is a coach. She's president of Professional Impact and the author of the book Shatter Your Speed Limits. Good stuff. You're going to love it. Great motivational, personal development stuff. Years and years and years ago, I was single. And I had made up my mind that I was going to find the woman, the love of my life. And so, again, I'm a cutting-edge kind of guy. I like the internet, so I went online. I went on Match.com. And I met a few people, had some nice dates. Nobody really dazzled me. And then one day, I get a message from this woman calling herself Heather 519. Well, 519 is my birthday. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And so I contact her. She's gorgeous, beautiful young woman. We start chatting, and I ask her, is the 519 a reference to something? She said, yeah, that's my birthday. I said, wow, that's my birthday too. Not even thinking about the fact that that information was common on the site, that she could have easily found that. So at any rate, we begin a conversation. She lives in just outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we start this long-term friendship. We start chatting. We chat for months, like 3 months. And I find myself chatting with her for hours and hours. And we eventually start talking on the phone. She sends tons of pictures, her and her family, her with her friends, her on adventures. And the girl is stunning. She's a model. And then she starts sending me even more intimate photos. I mean, like really intimate, naked photos, naked pictures. And we have this romance. It goes on for like 5 months. And I said, you know what? I can't stand this any longer. Why don't you come visit me for Christmas? Come out the week before Christmas. I'll send you a plane ticket to come visit me at my beach house in San Diego. And so I send her the ticket. While we're chatting, we're getting excited about it. And I said, hey, you know what? I know you got to go back to be with your family on Christmas Day. Why don't I send you a second ticket and you can come out and visit me in Las Vegas for New Year's Eve? We'll celebrate New Year's Eve in Vegas. Oh, cool. Send her a second first-class ticket. The short of it is, the day she's supposed to arrive, I'm at the airport, and I've got a box of chocolate, flowers, balloons. I'm Mr. Romance. And she doesn't show up. She doesn't get off the plane. She had called me right before she took off. She doesn't show up. And so I sit there, and I sit there, and I sit there, and nothing happens. So finally, an hour later, I go over to the counter, and I said, hey, could you check on this passenger? Did this plane land? They said, yeah, the plane landed an hour ago. Was this passenger on the plane? They said she was registered, she was ticketed, but she never got on the plane. So I start calling, and I can't get a hold of her. And I call, and I call, and I call, and there's no answer. And I'm going, well, this sucks. And then I start thinking I was conned. I go back home, and there's a message on my email. The message on the email is, hey, Marshall, this is Heather's mom. Came across your email on the desk. Heather got into an accident on the way to the airport, is in the hospital right now with broken ribs. She said she'd get a hold of you when she was able to talk. You think that's fascinating? There's more. I'll get back to it. It gets way deeper than that. Hey, I'm Marshall Silver. You're listening to me on the Get Rich Radio Network. Coming up after the break, I'll give you the details of how that wrapped up. I'll also introduce you to an amazing talent, somebody you definitely want to learn from, a world-class international speaker, Wendy Lipton-Dibner. We're very excited to have her on the show today. She is founder of Shatter Your Limits Fast Track Academy. So stay tuned. $1,000 cash to give away from the loopy yet extremely happy father, Marshall Silver. We'll be right back.